So I'm just getting the recording going. Okay, here we are. So welcome to 2018. Oh my goodness. What? Oh, let me just chat. Oh my goodness. I've just got to copy and paste something. Oh, so it wasn't exactly a call. Okay, I'm having a problem with my printer and I had a help chat thing request in, and it took them an hour to get to my turn. Of course, then it's gone really long. So I've told her I'll be back. I'll be back later then. So thank you for your patience. It's still not fixed. Anyway, how are you all? Happy New Year. 2018. Here we are. Now I'm going to do some screen sharing. I've got all kinds of weird windows popping up here. Give my computer time to get back in, and I want to take away some things here because I don't want to be confusing you. So whether you know the astrology or not, I'm going to share charts, and I would invite you when you're looking at charts not to get overwhelmed and go, oh, I don't understand it. I'm going to point at things, but really I want you to feel the energy, look at the patterns a little bit and just feel into it and go, whoa, look at this. Okay, look at what's happening. So I'm going to talk about the major energies of 2018. I'm also going to talk about the number 11 a little bit more and how it's going to be showing up quite a lot in this year. And in fact, one thing I will tell you is that the full moon that we just had was at 11 degrees, and the next, and it's at 11 degrees and 37 minutes. Okay, the Cancer full moon that was full at 7:24 p.m. Mountain time last night, and so that was at 11 degrees and 37 minutes. But the next full moon, which is a total, okay, bring your shared window to the front, resume share. Oh, I thought I had. I'll stop share and I'll start again. I want to show you quickly the next one, the total lunar eclipse on January the 31st. So we start the year with a full moon and we end the year with the month with a full moon. But this one is also at 11 degrees and 37 minutes. Now, okay, this last night's was in Cancer. The next one's in Leo. But to be at the exact number, okay, which is 11 degrees and 37 minutes, and 37 is 3 plus 7 is 10, which is a 1. So it's another 1. We've kind of got so many 11s and 1s this year, and a few 9s too. Okay. So I'm going to pull a card before I dive in to all the charts and get talking. And I think we lost somebody on a phone. Maybe they, oh, why can't I just flip between my, it's all right. I'm going back into it. There we go. Flip between the charts. But anyway, so I'm going to pull a card first of all for the for the month, really, because we have quite a month. I said in my post this morning that it feels like we were shot out of a cannon, and it's like, here's this year, let's get going. Okay, and I want to talk about that. So I'm going to be talking about a few major configurations. The first one happens on June the 6th. The second, I think, is June the 8th, January 6th, January the 8th. And then January the 15th, 16th, and then right to the end. Okay, because we don't have any kind of major squares or anything really this year from outer planets, but we do have some big things. So let's do the card. I'm going to stop sharing while I do that. Okay, so we actually have the Jupiter in Leo card for the month, Victory. And look at the flames of that. Now, how I interpret that, I'm not even going to get the book out on it, because 2017 was challenging for many. Ultimately, it was a very good year for me because I was doing the work and I had some amazing awarenesses and things, and I just, it just was a very good time for me. Okay, so Victory, well done, congratulations for getting to this point. Okay, and now let's move forward, because with Saturn newly in Capricorn, we now have, we have Saturn in Capricorn in his own sign, Neptune still in Pisces in his own sign. Jupiter at the end of the year will move into Sagittarius in his own sign, but that's not till the end of the year. And right now, though, because Uranus turned direct this morning, we now have all the major planets direct for 9 whole weeks. That's really unusual to have them all direct for that length of time. It's normally like a few days here and there. So what that means, though, is very much full speed ahead, moving forward, bringing the change you want. We started the new year with this big release of energy with the moon in her own sign, the closest supermoon of the year. And everybody goes, and some people, skeptics go, supermoons don't mean anything. But they do really, because they're actually closest to the Earth. They're at their perigee. The moon is at her perigee, which means that the tides are higher. It just means the emotional strength of the moon, which is our mother, is at her strongest, and she was in her own sign, so she was in her strongest. So we start the year with the divine feminine going, here I am. Okay, and she was opposing Capricorn, the sun in Capricorn, of course, and a lot of other, and Venus and Lilith all conjunct there as well, very close to the full moon. So Venus and Lilith are kind of the two aspects of the divine feminine. Eve is Venus, really, and Lilith was the first wife of Adam. So it's kind of the bad, the good witch and bad witch, if you like, because Eve was pretty radical in her own right. Are there right in Capricorn, in the sign of the patriarchy, with the moon opposing them, in the moon in her own sign. So, and then making this lovely kite pattern with Neptune in Pisces and Jupiter and Mars in Scorpio, both very feminine, watery signs. So I really believe that the divine feminine is rising this year in ways that perhaps we haven't seen before. We saw it with the launch. I don't know if you saw in the news, the launch of this organization. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Of this organization set up by, I think it was 300 women in Hollywood, to support victims of sexual abuse and to fight sexual abuse in the in everywhere, really, because they actually said that they want to support women who don't have the same strength and power that they do. And they've actually set up like a fund to help people. It's quite amazing, to be honest. I do think there's going to be another rash of disclosures, if you like. And let's start there. Okay, so we'll start. So we're on January the 2nd now, and it started with a bang. We have a couple of exact aspects. Follow my daily posts to see what they are leading up to this. But the next really big aspect is this one down here. Okay, if you can see where I'm pointing to. It's Jupiter and Mars together in Scorpio. They're also at 17 degrees, which is an 8, which I always think of as a very magical number. And I always associate the 8 and the 13 with Scorpio, because they're kind of the darker energies, and 8's associated a lot with wealth and manifestation and infinity, and Scorpio is so darn deep. It's so it's just crazily deep. It's our shadows that go on in ad infinitum. And Mars cuts to the heart of things, and there he is with Jupiter, who makes everything bigger. And so when is the 6th? Today's the 2nd. I'm still in that phase. I don't know about you, but between Christmas and New Year, I go into this weird alternate world where I have no freaking clue what day it is. But anyway, so the 6th, so 3rd is Wednesday, so Saturday. But Mars tends to, because Mars likes to do everything fast and cuts to the heart of things, Mars transits often are felt a little bit earlier than some of the others. So any time this week, really, I think there's going to be some more deep reveals about shadow, corruption, not necessarily just the sexual stuff, but there's going to be something really massive come out. At a personal level, I would say Mars and Jupiter in Scorpio means that, well, there's going to be some really deep emotions coming on the back of this emotional full moon. But it's also a sense of digging in deep to your own depths of power. Okay, if we think of Mars as the surgeon cutting in deep, he's going, enough of this freaking bullshit. Of not thinking you're enough, of shrinking, of saying, I'm not saying you turn into a big egomaniac and bowl everybody over. There's a difference between digging into your depths and standing in your personal power and wielding it over other people. And that comes back to boundaries, which should be really strong with Saturn in Capricorn, with Saturn newly in Capricorn. It's the whole chart this year is about setting these boundaries and saying, if it is to be, it's up to me. And that means it comes from within you. You have everything you need. You have the strength. You have the power. You're an expert in something, we're all in, and I'm only talking, I'm not talking about everybody becoming world leaders. I'm just talking about taking the power in your own little corner of the world and not being codependent and not thinking anybody else can do things for you. So anyway, the Mars and Jupiter, in Scorpio, I think is really cutting in to the depths of your psychological power, where you can go, hey, yeah, I really do freaking well have this. Okay. Of course, the deep side of the dark side of Mars and Jupiter in Scorpio is it's digging into things that you might not love, the shadow, things you don't really like to look at, but you must. All right. Now, interestingly, if you see on there, kind of triggering on, adding on to the Uranus turning direct, which it just has. We've got this temporary kind of yod, these two green things here, and that's Vesta, who is another of the goddess asteroids, and the moon in Virgo, which is very much kind of which is a deeply feminine sign. It's the one who is whole unto herself. And there's Vesta, who is the keeper of the flame. So the goddess archetypes keep triggering everything this year. It's quite magical. Okay. So I'm not going to stick on to that because I've got a lot to talk about, and I did get started a bit late. Oh, and why does it do that? Okay, I'm going to share again. Oh, hi, Barbara. Hello. Okay. Oh, there we go. It's that one. So the next date I want to look at is just 2 days later. And it's, okay, if you can see it, it's right here. Okay. We have Venus right in the heart of the sun. The sun is our kind of ego, our core, and the sun in Capricorn could not be more kind of patriarchal, other than Saturn in Capricorn, which we also have. But there's Venus, the another really until we started using goddess asteroids and discovering some of these outer planets that we've been discovering, which I'm not really going to talk about on here. Really, the only two feminine planets, bodies, whatever, in traditional astrology were the moon and Venus. And here we have Venus in Capricorn, in the sign of the patriarchy, in the heart of the sun. And she is conjunct Pluto. Pluto, who rules Scorpio. So we're going back to that Scorpio energy. But Pluto has been transforming the patriarchy for years. Now, the Venus star point, I did have that. Let me talk about it a little bit. Do I still have that picture up? I do. I'm going to change my share to the Venus star point briefly. The Venus star point is I just want to close another thing to make sure I'm getting some. I actually can't find the image on my own computer. I make myself laugh at times. Oh, there it is. And you've got the whole darn caboodle, so I'm going to stop the share and share it again. Because the Venus star point, okay, I want you to see the picture, makes the Venus star cycle, really, it makes this pentagram. It's an interesting one. We last had our last Venus star point was in Pisces, I think. Yes, it was. Because we had, oh no, it was in Aries. There we go, back in March 2017. Okay, but now we're moving, and the last Venus retrograde was in Aries and Pisces. Okay, but now we have Venus kind of reaching her zenith, her key top point before her next retrograde. And incidentally, I will be doing my Venus retrograde class again this year, and she'll be retrograding from Scorpio into Libra, and having the next Venus star point But the Venus retrograde is the Inanna's journey into the underworld, and I did it in Aries and Pisces, and this one will be in Scorpio and Libra. So it's all about your relationships later in the year. That will be starting in September. Everybody that took it found that course to be life-changing, so keep that on your calendar. But anyway, if you can see this Venus star point there is happening on, we just said the date, January the 8th, is happening on January the 8th, 18 degrees and 57 degrees Capricorn. The last time the Venus star point was close to this, because they always move a little bit backwards in terms of numbers throughout the years. It's, if you've seen the Venus, if you look up the Venus flower of life, it's like a spirograph, and it keeps going kind of a little bit back, and it creates this recurring pattern that kind of moves backward through the signs. But the actual star point creates this with the head, the arms, and the legs. So on January the 6th, we have this current Venus star point, and in on the arms, if you like, if you think of it as the man, I'm going to get a bit crazy here. There's Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, all right, is basically the Venus star point too. You've seen that picture that he did, right? With the arms and the legs splayed. This is the Venus star point. So these are the points that are important for this year, and starting on this Venus star point. And it's 1857 Capricorn. So if you've anything near that degree, important, especially of the cardinal signs. So that's Aries. Oh, my dog is really being weird. Anyway, I wish he wouldn't do that. Aries, Leo. I've lost my port. No, that's a fixed. Sorry, I've lost my Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Around 18, 19 degrees. But then you can also see we have these other areas of life that are being triggered. Okay. There you go. My moon leading up to the 2020. It's exactly conjunct my moon and Lilith. Oh. But anyway, I just wanted to show you the pattern of it. Now I just want to go back to the chart and show you and talk about that chart again. Okay. My dog is being so weird. So Venus is taking it to the man, if you like. I've used that expression before. Taking it into the heart of the patriarchy. And with Pluto so closely conjunct, if you look at this, there's 60 solar arc minutes in each degree of the zodiac. And so this Pluto is only 6 solar arc minutes away from this Venus star point, this conjunction, this start of the new cycle, this start of Venus going down to becoming, she won't be visible for a bit, but she will reappear as the evening star and then go down and then enter the underworld of her retrograde, which she enters the shadow on September the 2nd, and then she'll go in, and down, 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 down. And then she will go to the next star point, which is at 3 degrees of Scorpio in October, and then she'll move back up again as morning star. This is how Venus changes from evening to morning star, okay? But I cannot say how huge it is that it's conjunct Pluto. And then if we look at this little blue line here, okay, that's a sextile. So Jupiter is at 18 degrees of Scorpio. Venus and the Sun are at 18 degrees of Capricorn. Mars is at 19 degrees of Scorpio, and Pluto's at 19 degrees. So these These are all, and we've just had that Venus-Mars Jupiter conjunction, and this is an opportunity line, this aspect here. This is an opportunity to really, really massively transform and shift so much around stepping into this. If it is to be it's up to me energy, knowing that you have everything, you can step into that deep wells of power within you and know that you're enough, and you can move on and build, Saturn in Capricorn, this life that you really choose to build instead of like being at the whims of other people. And we've got this move into Earth in 2018. I said on the panel that I was on for the EA Zoom meetings that I have this real feeling that people are going to be becoming more self-sufficient, not in the preppery kind of way, just in the, more people will be planting gardens, more people will be creating their own economy. They won't be kind of, relying on the government. And I'm not a libertarian. I'm not even a Republican, but there is an element, and I don't believe that people are just wasters and takers. I don't believe in being that horrible about that. But there is an element of people feeling that they can really kind of start to own their own power. All right. So those two are aspecting each other. If we also look at this red line here, from the Venus star point Pluto conjunction, that goes over to Uranus and Eris. Of course, Uranus turned direct this morning, so he's full steam ahead, creating the last bits of radical change before he moves into Taurus on May the 15th. He will actually retrograde back into Aries for a little reminder and then be fully in Taurus. But he's going to move into more earthy energy. And then Eris is the goddess of destruction, and she's actually, sorry, not destruction, discord. She likes to show up artifice and throw an apple or a spanner in the works. Okay, so and they're in another very male sign as well. So more disruption of the patriarchy, more divine feminine saying, not going to take this shit anymore. Okay. Right, on to the next one. Oh, it doesn't like when I do that. Okay. So I'll just go back out and back in. Okay. Sort of continuing the theme of the Venus star point, we now have Jupiter exactly sextile to Pluto. Now that's going to happen 3 times in 2018. So this is one of the major aspects of the year. That's due to retrogrades. Okay. And that's really kind of continuing that theme of deep transformation, of really digging into those wells of power. Okay. And digging up the dirt as well. Okay. There may be some surprises for all of us this year, but I think most of all, we have the potential to surprise ourselves with how strong we can be. And I don't mean the kind of strong where you go, I don't need anybody else and things like that. No, you're going to delegate. That's part of being a strong leader, is saying, well, that bit doesn't work for me. You're going to do that bit. But it's not kind of in this, please help me, or I need you to be alive kind of way. You get my point, I think. Okay, so, joyful. So we're moving on to the new moon next. And guess where that new moon is? Capricorn. I've got so much Capricorn energy. And look at this Capricorn lineup. All right. Just look. Saturn, Lilith, And on this new moon, incidentally, guys, Lilith is conjunct my Saturn in Capricorn, because I'm about to have my second Saturn return. Mercury will finally moved out of retrograde zone and shadow, and everything will be well ensconced in Capricorn too. Pluto still there at 19 degrees, and the moon and the sun and Venus all conjunct in Capricorn. Look at that lineup. Okay, so we've had the release of the Cancer full moon, and now all this energy moving into Capricorn. Lilith still there, Saturn getting close to Lilith, so they never quite catch up. Mercury conjunct Lilith. Lilith is our too muchness, and with Mercury conjunct, she's going to be saying, no way, no more. You're not putting my too muchness down. You're not telling me I'm too loud, too much, too anything anymore. And incidentally, guys, my fucking magic of too muchness intensive in the first week in April in Arizona is going to be amazing. So we have one place taken already. Really, I'd be happy with just 3 people there, 3 or 4 people, because I want it to be intimate and lots of attention. But it's at a house we own in Arizona, and it's going to be just amazing. And I do have some lovely surprises planned for the attendees, as well as learning all about your goddess energy and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you'll consider joining me. Treat yourself so that you can step into this powerful energy this year. But anyway, let's look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bodies in Capricorn. The new moon itself at 26 degrees and 54 minutes of Capricorn. And remember, that's an 8. I talked about the 8 when we were over here in Scorpio. 8 is the number of infinity and magic and manifestation and creation. It's often known as the number of money. And that's because really there is the ability to create a lot of money this year if you really get yourself in alignment and take aligned action and stop thinking you're not enough to do it. There's potential to really turn things around this year. I always say potential because there's always free will, of course. And the shadow side of all this Capricorn energy is the fear of not being enough, and is the fear of kind of being put down and allowing yourself to be put down and made small by patriarchal influences. Really, it's best to kind of shut them out a little bit, and know that you've got it all in you. Again, I talk about that. Incidentally, on this new moon as well, okay, the new moon in Capricorn, we have it's aspecting as well Chiron in Pisces, so healing some of those old spiritual wounds again, especially the feelings of fear of not being enough again. It's also aspecting the Mars over in Scorpio still, not as directly, but it's still there, and the Jupiter. And then also still the Uranus in Aries and Eris over there. And Pallas has moved on a little bit. But Venus, she's kind of the wise warrior, wise justice. Goddess asteroid Pallas Athena, that's that little diamond. She's kind of a more jagged-edged Venus if you look at the symbols. The Venus symbol is the circle on top of the cross, and she is the square on its angle on top of the cross. So to my mind, Pallas Athena really is a bit like Venus, only got more jagged edges, as I said. So again, lots and lots of goddess energy right in the middle of the patriarchy. And if you look at the 7 things, we have Saturn, Lilith, and Mercury this side of Pluto, and then new moon and Venus this side of Pluto. Transformation right at kind of the midpoint between all these energies, saying we're shifting. And later in the year, I'll be talking about Pluto moving into 20 degrees of Capricorn, which is the Virgo decant, which is the one who is whole unto herself. The divine feminine, ladies, we are rising up. It doesn't mean we're going to like kill all men and take them over, but the divine feminine is saying no more. And I do think we will have a woman president at some point, because but we want a woman who's using female qualities. But anyway, let's not talk about that. And we end up on the last day of the month with a total lunar eclipse. I remember I said at the start of the call, I said that the full moon we had last night was at 11 degrees and 37 minutes. Well, this full moon is at 11 degrees and 37 minutes, but it's moved on a sign. And it's in Leo, and the moon, the North Node, is at 14 degrees of Leo. Now I'm going to hark back to August. We had the August 21st total solar eclipse. But 2 weeks before that, we had a lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Aquarius. And so this one is kind of opposing that. And then in February, we have a solar eclipse that's opposing where the solar eclipse was back in August. So we're going to be bringing back all those energies of August that changed everything for me, if you like. It's another thing at 11 degrees. And it's another thing at 11 degrees that is saying, it's a gateway. It's a new beginning. 11 is the most intuitive of numbers. It's really going to take us up a level overall. And I'm moving ahead and flipping back, I know. But we have so many 11s and so many 9s this year, and 9 is the Hermit card. There's a lot of going within to feel this power and knowing that you have it. I keep repeating myself, I know, but it's all about trusting your inner knowing, trusting your gut, trusting your instincts, and building that up into outward power. Okay, and saying, whew, yes, I really freaking own this stuff. Now, remember I talked about a yod in one of the charts? This one has a more powerful yod. We have Lilith at 9 degrees of Capricorn by the time of the total eclipse on the 31st. And we have Neptune in Pisces. And if you look at the number, this sign could be, in a way, a bit of a squiggly 11, because Pisces is the most intuitive of signs, really. And we have Neptune there and Lilith over there, and they are making, if you see the green dotted lines, pointing towards the moon at 11 degrees, saying, bring in that too muchness and your inner knowing into the Leo, which is about being on the stage, being full of joy, being childlike, following kind of the magic of the world. We have Ceres there, the great mother, exactly conjunct the moon on the eclipse, like 2 minutes away. More divine female energy stepping in. We still have Venus close to the sun. She hasn't moved away from it yet. She's conjunct the node on the eclipse. More divine female energy saying, bring your uniqueness, but stop feeling like you don't fit in anywhere, and bringing it back to that old thing that I keep bringing up from the last eclipse. Follow your heart. Now, all this sounds really easy. And I know it isn't. I've been working on myself and it for such a long time now. But I can honestly say, once I flipped in August and said, I'm not going to do it unless it brings me joy and fun. I'm not going to do it unless it feels magical. I'm going to trust that, knowing that when I step into the joy, fun, and magic, that's where the magic lies. I'm going to stop being afraid of being too much. Now, in complete honesty, as an entrepreneur, that means I am putting my shit out there more and offering things more. Whether you buy or not is up to you, but I'm having to market to the point where I feel like I'm too much and annoying, because for me, being one of those people who's always had that fear of not being enough or fear of being too much, when I actually step out and feel like I'm too much, I'm not being too much, people actually buy. Does that make sense? Do you get the idea? Because, sometimes we've been told, we're too pushy, we're too loud, we're too noisy, we're too aggressive. I was always told that I was too argumentative. But guess who told me that? Men. Men who didn't like a strong woman answering them back. I rarely get told that by women, ever in my life. So now I think, fuck it, basically. I'm going to be too much. And if they find that can't cope with it, then off they go. Boo. So we kind of end the month with a bang, start the month with a bang. We've certainly started it with a bang, like it is out of a cannon. I'm blogging again. I would love it if you would follow me on medium.com. Louise Eddington on medium.com. The more followers, the more readers I have, that actually have potential to earn some money from my blogging, from writing. And it just makes me really feel like people are actually listening. I don't care whether you buy from me or not, so if I keep offering things, buy or not, I'd love you to work with me. But if you don't want to and just want to follow my free stuff, then just give me likes and comments and things like that. You get the idea? But I am going to be putting myself out there more. So I want you to consider two things this year. Coming to my Arizona retreat. It's going to be freaking amazing, I tell you. We're going to be looking at all these goddess energies in your charts and doing some shamanic healing work around all that feeling too muchness kind of thing, so you don't feel like you're too much anymore. Failing that, if you can't come to the retreat, the intensive in April, put the 1st of September on your calendars. The Venus retrograde class, I think last time we had about 15 people in it, and each one of them still talks about it. It was in March last year, or around March. It's transformative. It's amazing. It came to me in a big download. I take you through the whole heroine's journey down into the underworld, looking into your shadow and lift you back up, changed and transformed. And because it's in Scorpio and Libra, it's about your relationships, but it's also about your relationship to your shadow. A lot of it. We'll be doing a lot of shadow work. So look for that. I don't even have a link for it yet, but I want you to get it in your mind. You're going to do it because it's going to be amazing. And really, I would love 50 people in that class this year. So anyway, that's kind of what I had to tell you. I want to know if we've got any questions about all this month. Are you feeling this? You can put them in the chat. I know people don't like to talk, or you can unmute yourself and talk. But, do you have any questions? Are you feeling this kind of rush of energy? Do you feel a bit of a power kind of surge coming into this 2018? Or am I just talking to myself?
Yeah, no, you're not talking to yourself at all. 100% with you. Hi, sorry you can't really see me. I'm just asking my son to switch a light on. I'm in Africa, so it's dark time here. There you go, that's better.
Oh yeah. Where in Africa are you?
I'm actually in Harare in Zimbabwe, down in southern Africa.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah. And as I'm sure you've seen, we've had the dark shadow of the feminine with our president's wife actually causing this massive transformation within our country.
Mm-hmm.
The patriarchy is still very, very much in control. But I would certainly say there is a huge amount of feminine power out there. Women coming into their own and realizing that they don't have to be men to own their power.
Yes.
So I'm seeing that on a country scale, which is awesome. And as soon as you started talking about being too much and too loud and too different and basically feeling like you need to own that power. And through the patriarchy, I have last year had at least 2 men create that situation for me, where I was too much for everything and I wasn't fitting in with the way things should be according to men.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my master numbers is the 11, and I just knew that this year was going to be my year.
Mm-hmm.
And just this moon that's happened and the visions, for want of a better word, that I've been getting, I've just been so excited about, right, okay, it's now it's time. And I'm talking too much and I'm too fast and I'm too loud, but that's how excited I am about what you're saying. I just thank you. I needed to hear that tonight. Thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome, and it's lovely to be validated. In fact, I've got whole tingles all over me now because I can feel it so strongly. I just feel like it's women's time, but but men who have female qualities too. It's not just a women versus men thing. I don't think it's
the balance.
Yes, but it's
my partner is the most amazing man, and he has that balance. So, and he supports me and validates me. So.
Yeah.
And every now and again, his name is Mario, so it's definitely a Mars-like quality. He comes out all roaring and he wants to support me and defend me. And I go, whoa, hold on a second. Actually, as much as I'd love you to, just hold on a second. Can I take responsibility and own what I need to do? But thanks. It's really cool to know you're in my corner. Just Louise, thank you. I needed to hear this tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm so glad you were here. Anybody else have any questions or comments? And we are going to do a shamanic journey, as we always do. I'm going to get that ready whilst people can have chance to see if they want to do anything. Most people don't have questions. You can always ask me questions in the group, though. In the Planetary Magic Cafe group, I'd like people to start sharing things and asking questions. Obviously, I'm not going to do your chart reading in the group because that's how I earn my money. But general questions about the general energies and a bit of conversation to support each other too. That's what I'd like the space to be about as well, not just about me posting my daily posts. That's why I want people. Thank you so much, Lisa, for having the courage to unmute and talk, because I want a bit more interaction. So we are going to do a shamanic journey, and we're actually going to do a shamanic journey to that Venus star point. So I'd like you to picture in your mind Venus, the Sun, and Pluto all together, and make yourselves very comfortable. And start in your starting place, and however you get to the upper world, fly up. I go on the back of an eagle. It could be a beanstalk. It could be a ladder. It could be whatever. Doesn't really matter. You could just float up. I'd like you to go up to the upper world and ask this Venus star point, which I think is really, really a big turning point, with so much divine energy at that, female energy at that point. And aspecting that point, ask it what it wants you to know, what you need to step into this year, how you can own this too muchness and without cowering back and shrinking. Just ask whatever you need to know. And when you hear the music call, the callback towards the end of this 20-minute session, just say, is there anything else I need to know? And thank and bless Venus, the Sun, and Pluto, and say how grateful you are for this opportunity for transformation, because this year can be freaking awesome. For many of us, it's going to have its challenges. I'm not denying that. Every year does. But for women, particularly, or for the divine feminine, it's got amazing opportunities. So get yourself comfortable. If you're driving or whatever, maybe come back and do the journey later. It's starting at 10:58. I'm not sure where that is in the recording. Maybe I'll have to quickly listen as I upload it and say where it is, and come back and do the journey later. And if you have the courage to come and share what you got from the journey in the group, I would love to know. So I'm going to get the music going now. I'll obviously be around at the end, but I'm probably not going to keep the call going at the end. But here we go. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for attending. Thanks for playing. I'll see you in the group. And 2018, let's get this a real community. Much love to you all. Well.